I am sitting on the Hollywood swing in my garden. In front of me stretches the landscape of my village, framed by the chain of the Jura Mountains. Behind me, the brook babbles. The forest holds its branches protectively around me. The birds, harbingers of spring, chirp loudly in chorus. The sun is shining. There's not a cloud in the sky. It is open and blue, but it does not shine. Just like the mountains, it fades sickly behind a milky haze. It's not fog, it's chemtrail smog, fine metallic dust flickering through our airspace. I am alone in this perception here. Few see it and feel it, what this means for humans and nature, and even fewer know about the connection between current world political events, cell phone antennas, and the so-called chemtrails. It breaks my heart. Madjid Abdellaziz has heard the woe of my heart. Or did I hear his? The call of the heart for spherical harmonization. Many people today long for their destiny, for the place that is right for them. What was not an issue a few generations ago, because people accepted the world as it was, is becoming a burning issue today. People long to be different in life, freer, more self-determined. They want to develop their potential and make it available to the common good. To bring it forth does not seem to be easy because the system in which we all live consists of rigid guidelines and structures into which we have been pressed from an early age. We have lost the inner connection to ourselves in the process. But something is now changing. The current of people towards this longed-for self-empowerment is an expression of this. One speaks of the biblical end-time apocalypse, whereby apocalypse does not mean annihilation or destruction, but revelation, unveiling. And what wants to be revealed? That we are living in an end time? The earth is going into a higher vibration. The old system must go. Something new is emerging. What? Exactly what we make of it now. Madjid Abdellaziz, graduate engineer and integral environment healer, is a person who has found his purpose. Today, he fills this place completely. It started with a quiet feeling in his heart in the desert of Algeria. His work is something so great that it has given rise to a movement around the world. Who is Madjid Abdellaziz and what does he do? How it all began. Madjid Abdellaziz, Algerian by birth, highly intelligent and warm-hearted, studied computer science in Berlin and subsequently worked in high positions. For example, at VW. However, he was not driven by a worldly career, but rather by the energies and frequencies that make up the universe and us as well, and did research early on in the field of alternative energies. Due to a key experience in the desert, which was to change his life dramatically, he dedicated himself to the revival of the living in the desert of Algeria. In 1994, as part of an expedition, the engineer flew via helicopter to the Tessil-Najer mountain range in the Sahara. Just before the helicopter began its return flight, Madjid got out to pick up plastic dishes from lunch. His place in the helicopter was quickly taken. The helicopter crashed. None of the occupants survived. Abdellaziz was in shock. At that moment, his friend Adhan, desert dweller and a wise Tuareg, approached him, put his hand on his shoulder, and said, "The desert still needs you, my friend. That's why you survived." These words were to come true, for since his survival, it was as if Madjid had been given a second life. He now dedicated it to the study of life energy and the understanding of the universe. In addition to his technical education, he now intensively studied theoretical basics of orgone and vortex physics according to Wilhelm Reich and the nature and water scientist Victor Schauberger. Here he could learn a lot in the lectures of Professor Bernd Senf and the Berlin FHTW. His search also brought him to the teachings of the inventor and physicist Nikola Tesla, as well as to the scientists Lakovsky and Kosarev. Most great deeds, most great thoughts have a laughable beginning. Albert Camus. Madjid is a doer by nature. In 1999, he began putting that knowledge into practice. In 1960, the French completed multiple nuclear tests in the Algerian desert under the name Operation Desert Jumping Mouse. Nature froze. The country, rich in raw materials, suffered water shortages, which, after prolonged drought and years of neglect, mainly affected the poor population. Madjid understood the atomic energy as the death principle of nature, which belonged under, but not above the earth, and took the decision, as Reich did, to dissolve stagnant energy fields and blockades, to support nature in its self-regulation, and then to help the desert again to a natural rainfall. This project was absolutely revolutionary at the time, and it was not uncommon for Madjid to be declared crazy. But this did not stop him from his intention and his deep feeling to push the desert greening further. So in 2003, the visionary began his project in El Hodeida, Algeria. Madjid remembered that day well. It was dry and unbearably hot. Streaks of dor hung in the sky, and so he began the orgone operation according to Wilhelm Reich, integrating his research insights from Schauberger and Tesla's vortex and quantum physics. He set up metal tubes in a vitalized water basin and acupunctured the sky specifically at stagnant energy points. To this was added a large sky acupuncture device, which he connected to the water basin, movable and with a stronger effect. After a few days of clouds, storms, and lightning, the first redemptive drops fell. A dissolution of the energy blockade was initiated, and movement came into the entire energetic environment. Stagnant energy fields between heaven and earth were drawn off and neutralized by a toroidal living field in the system. Energy flowed again, and nature regulated itself independently. Heavy rain began to fall within a radius of 100 kilometers, accompanied by a violent storm. The operation was successful, and the desert could smile again. Again and again, Madjid Abdellaziz carried out such operations from then on. The weather began to regulate itself more and more independently, and regular natural rains began to fall. Jinan, today a self-sustaining agricultural operation where people settled, was thus to become the model project for worldwide harmonization. From miraculous greening of the desert to a global call to humanity. Over the years, the technique of desert greening has evolved from desert greening, from an initial tenuous vision to a mature and internationally active integral environmental healing with global impact. Madjid increasingly recognized geopolitical agendas of weather, migration, and financial policies, as also described in detail by Professor Bernd Senf, and discovered in his field experiments altered vibrations and frequencies that made him sit up and take notice. Something was happening here on a global scale. The desert is blooming, the technology is mature, but could it do more? In view of increasingly explosive world political events, he decided to dedicate his knowledge to important global tasks and to make the technology of celestial acupuncture and spherical harmonization available globally for the benefit of mankind and nature. He followed his inner call and went on a mission to clean the air from pollutants and to protect mankind and nature from dangerous radiation, HAARP, 5G, Starlink, and manipulation of the human mind. He wanted to bring nature and living beings into harmony and make his contribution to a harmonious and peaceful world, to use his second life wisely. My mission is to heal the environment and bring nature and living beings into harmony, says Madjid Abdellaziz. Whether through 5G, chemtrails, or huge antenna systems, humans, animals, and the environment are nowadays exposed to numerous negative influences and manipulations. Frequency weapons are used nowadays, hidden from the public, while chemtrails poison the skies and HAARP dries up whole rivers and lakes. The spherical harmonization systems offer an effective and proven positive counterbalance because everything is frequency and the human body consists of over 50% water, an essential information carrier. Those who are familiar with the work of Masaru Emoto know about the enormous influence and importance of frequency and resonance. Madjid studied living toroidal field energy, as well as the Schumann frequency, our physiological brain frequencies, especially the alpha state, and harmonizing and healing vibrations from the spectrum of solfeggio frequencies. In further field research, he was able to incorporate these frequencies into his spherical harmonization systems and so-called Kosarev resonators. He refined the technique more and more, and through the symbiosis of different scientific theories and findings, he succeeded, among other things, in building a pulsating toroidal field with two opposing vortices, consisting of a copper spiral and a water vortex, sacred geometry, and the power of crystal, which transforms door, deadly organ, into pore, positive organ, in a radius of up to 500 kilometers in diameter, a complex structure, yet simple and effective. Other projects soon followed. His mission to build a global network of harmonizing frequencies began. With his idea, he found allies in renowned organizations, official bodies, and committed private individuals, people who are concerned with current world events, ask questions and work for a better world, for a world in which they want to live in peace and mutual respect together with other people, and the animals in harmony with nature, with Mother Earth, and all life. Thus, spherical harmonization systems could be set up together at important geographical nodes. Here is an excerpt of the locations in Egypt, Cairo, at Sekhem in collaboration with Dr. Ibrahim Abouleish, an alternative Nobel Irate in Canada, in Abu Dhabi near Dubai, Mongolia with Gaisan Chenag, in Brazil, in Austria, in Germany, in Namibia, in Spain, Tunisia, in Iran, in Paraguay, documented by Michael Vogt, Switzerland. More projects are planned. You can see an interactive tour of the network and its creation here. In the course of time, he has managed to develop together with the Blue Planet smaller and less expensive spherical harmonization systems with considerable effect. 3 of these plants, placed in a triangle at a distance of about 90 kilometers from each other, produce the same power as a large spherical harmonization system. How to heal the world with celestial acupuncture, the technique of spherical harmonization. Madjid quickly realized through his work that not only could the desert be greened, but he also realized that the entire environment was harmonizing. By building a spherical harmonization system, the frequency spectrum was harmonized in an area of about 500 kilometers. The original Schumann frequency of 7.83 Hz re-established itself. The Schumann frequency is the natural electromagnetic frequency of our planet. It is like the heartbeat of Mother Earth and has the strongest influence on our emotional state, because the natural frequency of our brain is also exactly 7.83 Hz. Due to the increasing technical radiation such as cell phone, microwave, or WLAN radiation, the Schumann frequency on Earth is disturbed. These are the frequencies which were developed by big tech and technocrats who can operate mind control over exactly these frequencies, EMP plus ELF, because who controls the frequencies also controls mankind. Electrosmog is harmful and very stressful for the organism of humans, animals, and plants, just like the door, or deadly organ, described by Wilhelm Reich. This affects us as humans in such a way that we are no longer in harmonious balance, no longer in a state of love, but of fear. That's why it's so important to awaken the heart, because the highest blockage is fear, Madjid said. Yes, we are all infused with organ energy, living energy. According to Wilhelm Reich, this energy flows within us, but through violence in childhood, the energy splits into 2 streams, the positive direction, love, or the negative, fear. When you are afraid, you are blocked, and you don't know what reality you're in. You are cut off from the original harmonious state. We all have so much potential within us, but when we are afraid, we only see part of reality, as if we have glasses on. This realization led Madjid to design his devices to amplify the frequencies of the heart. My inspiration was to build devices that would restore our ability to love. The devices Madjid built such as the biofractal harmonizer that protects against 5G, resonate with the Schumann frequency so that people can reconnect and be open. That they go into resonance with Tesla's 369 principle, that is, the high frequencies of harmonious relationships and communication, intuitive, creative intelligence and problem-solving skills, and connectedness with a healthy pineal gland, which in turn enables communication with the higher worlds. Everything happens with the heart. He, like a lettuce, carry your heart in your head. Then change becomes possible, said Madjid Abdellaziz. Chemtrails, a worrying phenomenon. So-called chemtrails are streaks in the sky left by airplanes that do not dissipate even after many minutes, but instead become more and more widespread. The affected area of the sky becomes diffusively veiled. When several such streaks appear in parallel or crisscross the sky, an initially clear and deep blue sky can become more and more cloudy in a few hours, and the initially clear colors in the landscape disappear behind a milky smog. The sprayed nanoparticles contain aluminum, barium strontium, lead, mercury, lithium, manganese, also fungal spores, bacilli, polymer fibers, and much more. According to official statements, the dimming of the sun, the so-called solar radiation management, is intended to counteract global warming, but in doing so, conditions it. Heavy metals, radioactive elements, especially aluminum and nanosize, bring monumentous consequences for nature and man. They are among the causes of chronic inflammations, as well as all neurodegenerative diseases such as depression, dementia, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and autism. If I wanted to bring mankind to its knees, says Dr. Dietrich Klinghardt, I would spray with exactly these substances. People would become dumbed down by them, and over 2 to 3 generations, they would be brought to extinction. In addition, it needs still certain electromagnetic frequencies in order to paralyze the body's own detoxification enzymes, and exactly these frequencies come over the cell phone radiation. You could almost believe there's a hidden conspiratorial agenda behind it. Electrosmog 5G. Unfortunately, the majority are still unaware of the dangers of 5G. We are biophysical beings, and especially on our heart and brain, it has a detrimental effect to our health. 5G frequencies unbalance the global subtle field and will change us humans in our thinking behavior. Due to the advancing digitalization and the expansion of the 5G network, electromagnetic radiation in the extremely low frequency range, ELF to EMFs, is now ubiquitous, and the phases in which we can regenerate are becoming shorter and shorter. 5G was originally developed as a military technology and is a modern energy weapon. Such electromagnetic irradiation causes profound disruption of DNA. Frequency medicine has long known about these processes and the pathogenic, as well as healing effects of frequencies. The environment is increasingly burdened by electromagnetic waves, but the network of spherical harmonization is also growing as a positive regulating counterpole. That is why a holofractal harmonizer is useful. Wilhelm Reich recognized already in the 50s that electrosmog negatively influences the living processes and causes the life energy to freeze. He treated his patients with orgone energy and thus brought the life energy back into the natural flow. Madjid says, I further developed Wilhelm Reich's technique, combining it with that of Nikola Tesla, Kosarev, and my own research, among others, as well as with the power of sacred geometry and that of the Srianta crystal, and created an effective protection against 5G, the holofractal harmonizer. The spherical harmonization systems work on the implosion principle and create a strong toroidal field with harmonizing frequencies. I am glad to be able to counter the modern warfare against man and nature with something effective, says Madjid Abdellaziz. The more spherical harmonization systems come into use and connect, the stronger the harmonizing energy field and the larger the chemtrail-free area in the sky. The training to become an integral environmental healer. I want to pass on my knowledge to people with good hearts, Madjid says with a smile. For this purpose, he has created the Integral Environmental Healer Training. At the end of the training, The adept will be able to build and responsibly operate a large spherical harmonization system by himself. The training consists of 3 parts: A. Theory and science, B. Practice building a facility, and C. Inner work, because the facility operator's own frequencies are an important factor in integral environmental healing. Therefore, he requires the plant operation to work spiritually as well, by using the ancient Indian fire ritual Agnihotra at sunrise and sunset to purify the atmosphere, and additionally by doing simple meditation and mindfulness exercises on a regular basis to rebalance their own energy system. Become part of the movement. If you yourself feel a suffering, that passion arises from making a difference for the world, then join us and create as part of a strong community, a global network of positive frequencies, the People's Network of Harmony, because this project can heal the world. Environmental healing is my duty, says Madjid, because if the earth is happy, so are we. And again, the sky is streaky dull, and again an airplane draws its stripes alone. My heart feels into that of Madjid Abdellaziz and recognizes in itself the same ache and the same burning. That energetic heart, this inner space that expands and becomes more powerful with the entry of each additional person. In the feeling of the common heart lies the healing, opens a common path back to oneness. Let us follow this call and create the new world together.